My name is Maureen Muthua. I lead field marketing at a company called Kindra. So Kindra is a spin-off from IBM. So last year, IBM announced that they were going to spin off some of the business, the managed infrastructure services, and we did the spin-off. We became an independent company in October this year. So we are now listed in New York Stock Exchange. We are a $25 billion company based out of New York City, and we run managed infrastructure services, meaning we are sort of the company that other companies outsource us to run their IT services for them. I went to high school in St. Anne's Leoki, it's in Kiambu. After that, in secondary school, I was not a very, very good student. But I was beyond average student. Then I went to college in Catholic University, and in Catholic University, I started BCom in marketing. And when I was in college, my second year, I started doing my internship. So when people were busy partying and doing other things, I was very lucky. I count myself very lucky to have started my internship or introduction into marketing at a company called Exclamation Marketing. I give all credit to Sue Omanga, who was starting the company at the time and saw the talent, I guess, in me and nurtured the talent and started off with me as an intern. So every time I remember we used to have class like 4 days a week. So I used to leave Friday free to go and work, and then like Thursday afternoons I would go to Suamanga's place and sort of work there. So did my BCom, finished my BCom in Catholic University. After that, I continued working for Exclamation Marketing. Then I moved on to an agency called Newton Bakes, and that's where I sort of got really deep into advertising. So I'm sort of an advertising child. Born and bred in advertising, and then stayed there for a couple of years and then moved to Scanad to work for Barrett. I worked in Scanad for a number of years, and in 2009 I was sort of tired. I was sort of like turning 30, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot do agency life anymore at this time. I need to move to corporate, and I moved to IBM at the time. So I started off then working at IBM. But when I was in Scanad though, interesting, I did quite a bit. When I was in Canada, I went back to school to do my CIM. CIM is a Chartered Institute of Marketing. I graduated in 2008 with a postgraduate in CIM, CIM UK. CIM is like accountants have chartered accounting, secretaries have the same thing, and marketers have the chartered marketing. So I'm a chartered marketer by profession. Then when I was still in Scanad, I went back. I was challenged to go back and do my MBA. So I went to USIU. I did my MBA in strategic marketing. I was lucky that Scanad paid for my MBA, which was amazing, which was fantastic. But then I moved into IBM when I was just about to finish my MBA. And then finished my MBA, and the rest is history. As a little child, I don't know, honestly, my dad was in legal, so my dad was a practicing, he used to be in the courts all the time and everything else. My mom also worked in the court, and then I had an auntie who was a doctor. So I think as I grew up, I was sort of, and I remember, I think when we were growing up at the time, our parents were like, you're either going to become a lawyer or a doctor. And I remember my mom used to give us a story of my auntie who, when they were young, my auntie then, who's now a medic, who's since retired, but was a medic at the time. She was like, oh, guys, just remember when we were growing up, your auntie, when we're doing chamama, chababa, she always used to be the doctor in the family. So if you really want to do something, you need to nurture it early in life. Of course not. I mean, I didn't even know marketing was a profession or a career at that time, right? But then I think once you go to college and then I was doing BCom, then there were options where I think there was marketing, there was economics, there was accounting. Accounting was like a no. Management was like, whoa, I can do management anywhere. And then I got involved in Marketing Students Association, and that's when now marketing sort of became like the thing I wanted to do. So as a young child, no, I didn't know, I had no idea. But then when I went to college, I was like, oh, this could be interesting, this could be fun, and that's why I pursued it until today. Unfortunately, my parents passed away when I was in high school, so it's been an interesting journey. But I always miss my dad in terms of like now I think I'm successful in my career, and every time I get a new job or every time I move into something else, I always think of my dad, and I'm like, what would have dad said, you know? But anyway, they passed away. They left us with fantastic, wonderful relatives. We miss them every day. But I'm sure my dad and my mom would be extremely proud of what I've become. I'm still trying to discover what my purpose is, right? but I'm very, very passionate, and I've nurtured my passion. So I'm passionate about two things, really, really important. One is education, and the other one is just women and how much women do in the family and how much they are the pillar of the family. And every time I've been in a position to influence, I've readily and happily done so. I remember when I was advertising, there are a couple of people, a couple of girls I sort of nurtured who had come from college. I took them up, they were interning with us, and then right now they're successful people in their careers in Kenya and outside of Kenya. I've done the same thing in the US as well. What I didn't mention was I used to work for IBM here, then IBM moved me to New York. And when I went to New York, it's a very different environment in terms of equality. And when I got there, I discovered that especially black women were not looked at like other people. So it's up to me. I've taken it upon myself to really mentor the black women who come into the workplace, but also to give them an opportunity, because an opportunity starts at internship level. Remember my story of being given an opportunity as an intern. So what I'm doing is, by paying it forward, is sort of, let me just give an opportunity to as many black girls as I can to become interns, and then mentor them, sponsor them into the next opportunities in their lives. So that's been my passion. In terms of women, the women thing, and this is still in my mind, it's still in my head, but if only we could just empower women much more, you know, that would be a fantastic thing to do. But if you ask me about my retirement, I'm like, two things: education and women. Education, at least you're doing something about it. Women, it's still work in progress, although people elsewhere would say I'm doing something about it. I look at challenges I'm saying this now, then I would be extremely upset about the challenges and the blockers in the corporate career. But I think one of the most challenging thing for me has been really being given the opportunity, or somebody recognizing that you've got the opportunity. I think as women, and mostly, and this is women across, whether you're black, white, or Asian, we don't know how to speak for ourselves, or we don't know how to put ourselves out there. We don't know how to advocate for ourselves. So I've had challenges in my career where I knew I was best fitted for a position, but then probably very few people knew about me. Probably I was not around in the circles of then influence that would help me in my career. But I also learned that you don't do these things by yourself, right? That's why you need mentors to sort of advocate for you when you're not at the table. That's why you need sponsors, especially in corporate America, who will then speak on your behalf and who are at the level of influence. So I think the challenges of being discriminated against, if you call it that way, being looked down upon, especially being in New York, people are like, oh my God, where is she from? You know, you're not even a native American. Well, I mean, you're not a New Yorker or an American or whatever it is, right? And then just getting that to that level where people then recognize what you can do. So I think those have been the biggest challenges for me in my career. But then having mentors, having advocates, having people who can speak for you has really helped me. So first of all, I probably will say I did all my working life, half of it has been in Kenya, the other half has been in America. And for me, I didn't look at myself, so I worked for companies where people were not looked at as whether you're a woman or a man. It was all about, were you able to do the job and how well could you do the job? So I wouldn't say I have faced any challenges, especially in this country, being a woman in the workplace. But in the US, there's the undertone of, there's always the white man, the white female, the black man, and then the black woman. So I think even without it being a challenge, it's sort of there, it's a given, right? You're not all equal. The way I would say in Kenya, in Kenya, my experience was we're all equal, right? It was all about how able were you to do the job. But in America, you sort of have to start thinking about that because of the systematic issues that they have in the US and all that. So I think when you're a woman, and especially a black woman in America, you tend to work 4 or 5 times harder than the white man. you tend not to get the opportunities. You rely on people who advocate for you, who push for you, but that's the world we live in, you know. But then at the end of the day, I'm always like, if you get a job, do it to your level best. And the job does not only speak for itself, you need other people to speak for you and to put your name out there. First of all, it's okay not to know what you want to do, right? And I keep telling my niece, and I'm always like, right now she's doing so many things, and I'm like, it's okay, you're only 20 years old, right? Go and do whatever you want to do, because you never know where you're going to find your passion. So I think for me, be curious. To the young girl, be curious, and really, really be curious. Experiment in many things, because right now, we don't know where the world is going to be in 10 years time when you get to the job market, right? So I think for me, it's sort of be curious, just try as many things as you can. You never know where you're going to find your passion, and it's okay. I'm lucky, I did marketing in college and university, and this is what I'm doing in life. So many people, their first degrees were just what their parents wanted them to do, right? And then when you do your second degree, that's when you figure it out, you know. And I mean, right now, there's so much information. Please, please, young girls, look for this information. Go onto the internet. You can spend time on TikTok, that's okay, but also spend some time just Googling and finding out about careers, because that's the only way you're going to know. And then interacting with people, absolutely. Look for a mentor early in life. I had mentors, but I didn't know they were mentors. You know, the people who gave me the jobs, like Oswamanga, Alfred Amulioto, Barat, I didn't know they were mentors when I was growing up then, you know. But right now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have somebody who was directing and guiding my career. So to the young girls, go out there, identify somebody you admire, look for them, and then just ask them, can you be my mentor? Can you please guide me? And you can have as many mentors as you can. If today you feel like you want to pursue marketing, look for somebody who's successful in that area and talk to them, find out how their job is like. If tomorrow you want to be a doctor, that's okay. You know, look for a doctor and figure out what areas you want to specialize in early enough in life, you know. So I think just being curious, learning a lot, Google, the internet is there, it's so cheap. When we were growing up, we didn't have internet, you know, but right now they have all the internet, and then just look for somebody who can guide you, or at least give you advice. I just started, so I'm very passionate about education, and I feel that education is sort of the leveling ground, you know. So it doesn't matter where you grew up, where you're born, where you went to school. At the end of the day, if you've got, let's say, an MBA in strategic marketing or whatever, you're all the same. The only difference changes is the exposure you've sort of been given. So for me, and we've got an NGO called the Literate Earth Project, and the whole idea is, what we're trying to do is to bring as many books to libraries in Africa as we can. And libraries could be a school library, could be a community center, it could be anywhere else. Because for me, the books, when people start reading, and it's unfortunate that in Kenya and in most African countries, people just read the curriculum books. They don't know, the kids, those are the only books they have, the only books they read. They're not exposed to many more books. So what we're trying to do is bring books, storybooks, you know, like books that will make the kids be curious and open up their minds as well. So that's one of the projects and the programs I'm involved in. I'm very excited. We are going to be launching in Kenya pretty soon, just bringing books to the kids in the communities. And of course, we'll start with the schools that are really needy, just around Nairobi. And of course, we can expand to other areas, but just that's one of the things I'm really, really passionate about. My spare time, I do many things. And this is the thing, you know, when you're not busy, your mind becomes wanderers and curious, and start doing random things, you know. So I try and I play golf. I play golf a lot, and I try and play. Even now, after we finish, I'm kind of running to go and to go and play. So I try and do that. I also am very, very involved in New York. I live in a place called Harlem. Harlem in New York is a pretty predominantly black neighborhood. I help out sort of in the neighborhood, so I volunteer in a local church on Saturdays. That's what I do Saturdays in winter, to go to the pantry to serve food and all that. Then what else do? I run. In summer, I run a lot. I try and work out, keep fit, just go to the gym, you know, get the mind and the body energized and work out. So those are kind of, and I spend a lot of time, like when I'm here, so I try and come to Kenya at least once a year. Now I'm here and I'm like, every day is like, oh my God, so many things happening, so many things, whether it's with family, with friends, like things are just going on, too much that is going on. But I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. We all survived COVID. New York was pretty bad with COVID. We came to learn how to do new things. I learned how to bake. I didn't know how to bake. If my auntie had me say that, she'd be like, show me the evidence. But yeah, I learned how to bake, but it's been wonderful. I think I have good genes, but well, it doesn't come easy as well. It's like anything else, right? And this is the thing about everybody else, and especially to the girls, nothing comes easy. You just have to work hard at it and be persistent and don't give up. Just commit, and do it. So success is, and I'm probably gonna murder a lot of this because success is very individualistic, right? If you ask me today whether I'm successful, I'd probably say I'm yet to get there, but then other people would look at me and say, oh my God, she's so successful. I think success for me is you've got your objectives. You define a certain objectives and you know, and I'm very good at doing my short-term, medium-term and long-term goals. So short-term goals, within the year, a few months, you achieve your short-term goals, you're fine. Long-term, medium-term goals, 2 years, you achieve them or you iterate and what have you, you're fine. And then the long-term goals. So for me, success is just the persistence to see your goals and your objectives to the end line. And I'll give you a story. I sort of set goals, and I'm good at goal setting. And I'm not sure I'm good at following them through, but then the years just slide away. My MBA is a good example. So I started my MBA when I was, I think I was 28 years old, and I was like, by 30, I need to have done my MBA, finished, and moved on. Lo and behold, I changed my jobs from Scanad to IBM, and the job at IBM was so crazy. It was just a lot of work, a lot of traveling, and I just didn't have time for my MBA. And I'd said objective, 30, MBA. Let's just say, by the time I did that thesis and finished it, I was maybe 32 years. So the goal slipped a bit, but it was still achieved, right? So I think what I'm trying to say is that set a goal, set an objective, but then things will come along the way. You know, I mean, there's nothing that's 100% given. So things will come along the way, but as long as you see to completion and you achieve it, then you can term yourself as successful. First of all, I would say just define your goals and just know, and it's okay for goals to be shifty. It's okay. Like, I know, I probably when I was in marketing, when I joined marketing, I was like, one day I want to lead marketing in a Fortune 500 company, right? That was my main goal. I want to be a CMO. I haven't gotten there yet, right? But the steps, I know exactly the steps that I need to get there. I knew that I needed to be very, very, go deeper into every area of marketing. When I was here, I was leading marketing for Central, East and West Africa for IBM. So at that point, I knew that I needed to have the African experience to take me to the next level. Then from Africa, I was offered an opportunity to move to New York, and I was like, what a better place to go to then go. But then when I went to New York, I was sort of like a small fish in a big ocean, you know. Here I was probably a big fish in a small pond. When I went to New York, I was a really small fish. And one of the things that I got into is that I needed to get depth into every discipline of marketing. So as people and as girls especially, you think about what career do you want to pursue. Right now it's okay if you're 16, 17, 18 and 20, whatever, just go wide. But at some point in life, you need to go deeper to really become a subject matter expert in your area. And that's exactly what I did. So I became an SME in field marketing. I became an SME in brand marketing. I became an SME in event management. I became an SME in performance marketing. I became an SME in marketing automation and all that. So I gained the depth. And right now, I'm responsible for about 50 or so field marketers. And our main job is really to work very closely with the sales team to make sure that we are bringing in the leads and we're helping them in closing the deals, right? So the step is go depth, go in the areas that you want to be, or become a subject matter expert in the area you want to be. Then read a lot, read. There are some things that can never be taught in school. There are some things that you gain out of experience. There are some things that you gain out of reading. So be curious and just read. Go wild and just read all the books. Well, you can't read all the books, but just read. Form a habit of reading. And that's why I go back to my Literate Earth project, because it's all about reading and just developing the curiosity of reading. So when I was in Kenya, I used to work for Scanad, and I think it was 2007. I was the employee of the year. I brought in client service. I used to be an account director at the time. I brought in so much business. I had the most wonderful clients, and it was just the beginning. Then when I moved to IBM, I was involved in launching a number of offices in Africa. We launched the Angola office, the Tanzania office, the Ghana office. We launched the research lab in Nairobi, just not too far away in Karen, in my former university, which was really amazing. So that was really an amazing work, just being able to travel across Africa, the opportunity that IBM gave me to do that. When I moved to the US, I was running marketing for one of our brands called the Mobile First. That was really amazing because it took me to Barcelona for the Mobile World Congress, and we did an amazing job, and we brought in so much revenue out of that one event, which I organized for, I arranged for. Everybody was there, and I was just new in the US at the time, so that was really amazing. And then, I moved to San Francisco with IBM. IBM took me to San Francisco. I spent a year in San Francisco working with the developers in San Francisco, a totally different industry and different field, which was really amazing for me. And then coming back to New York, and now moving to Kindra, I was not in scope to move, but the CMO asked me, she was like, Maureen, I would love if you can come and work for me. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to lead field marketing, and I want you to be responsible for account-based marketing. And that's what I'm doing today. So the new year is going to be interesting for me. So like I mentioned, I just moved into the new company. We were listed at the New York Stock Exchange, Kindra. In October, we are forming a new company, running a new brand in the market. For those of you in marketing, know how important it is to start a brand from scratch, an opportunity that most people don't have, right? So it's really making sure that we have now the brand. The brand goes into market. My team and I, it's going to be really important to now set the foundation. Now it's sort of show value to the business in terms of what it can do in helping the sales team and really the company bring in revenue. And then from a personal perspective, many things are happening, they're underway. I'm looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to the plans that my boyfriend and I have for the new year. And of course, family as usual, and I just hope I can play more golf. Unfortunately, I can't because I'm going back to winter, and there's nothing I can do about it. My golfing friends are always like, I'm a bandit golfer. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. And I'm looking forward to spending more time. Every time I'm really asking myself when I'm in New York, what can I do for people back home, How do I help? And I'm looking forward to those people who are going to reach out to me, to just engage with them and really learn from them as they learn from me. Absolutely.